when did it switch for you where you were like, okay, I think that I can be a pro, or that might be a reality for me?
I remember this game. It was my sophomore year, my first 30 ball. We played Marshall.
Mm.
I made the all rookie team, but I was kind of like, I felt like they just had to throw a big in there, so I didn't know. I don't know if I don't know if I really got that, or I didn't know what was going on with that. But yeah, I think it was after that Marshall game, 31 points. I don't know the rest of the stat line. I just know I had 30 points, and I remember talking to my parents on the phone, and that turned into a legitimate dream for me.
All right, we are here with my guy Nate Knight. So I'm gonna go through a few of your accomplishments because you have quite a few, my guy. You have quite a few. So if y'all want to go get a snack, use the bathroom, go ahead. This might take a minute. So Lou Henson Award winner, CAA Player of the Year, CAA Defensive Player of the Year, a couple first team All CAAs, 3-time CAA All Defensive Team, second team All CAA, and then of course CAA All Rookie Team. How you feeling, bro?
I'm good, man. Just happy to be here. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Are you not in Virginia anymore?
No, I'm up in Albany now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What you been up to lately?
Nothing. Now that I'm up here with my agency, I'm doing like 2-a-days, and yeah, that's about it really. With coronavirus, there ain't much going outside of training. So
Facts.
Right.
I feel that. I feel that.
Sure.
So, of course, as you guys know, see the jersey in the background. This is my teammate this past season. And Nate, you remember tempo runs, right?
yeah.
So we got a new segment. I want to try this out. You the first one we're gonna do this with. It's called the 1 minute speed drill.
All right.
So I got about 10 to 11 questions. You got a minute. We're gonna try to get through as many as possible. You got one skip.
All right.
So we're gonna go ahead and do this real quick. See how this turns out.
All right. But
Are you ready?
yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right. Top 3 artists on your pregame playlist.
Drake, Uzi, Juice WRLD.
One career besides being an athlete that you've always dreamed of pursuing.
Investment banking.
Okay. Who do you model your game after?
Skip.
Dream school growing up.
Boston College.
Oh, really? Sport that you're the least talented in.
Soccer.
Go-to celebration.
On the flex.
That's a fact. Best player that you've ever played with.
Skip.
Best player that you ever played against.
Justin Wright Foreman. For
Okay.
sure.
Best sneaker that you've ever played in.
Kobe's.
And then who was your first coach?
My first coach was Gilbert Spates.
Just made it. Dang. Investment banking, that surprised me. That's what's up though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the pregame playlist, bro. That was solid. Uzi in there, Drake. Then the Juice WRLD. That's rest in peace of Juice, man.
Bryce remembers we were at Fairfield when everyone got the news, and I was devastated.
Yeah.
I never played so hard in my life.
He was pressed that day.
But yeah, man. All right, so let's transition into this, man. So who put the ball in your hands, and where did your love for the game originate?
So my mom really put the ball in my hands at a really young age, and that love for the game of basketball originated, from a very unconventional place. It wasn't from, watching the stars on TV do it or like watching a bunch of basketball when I was younger. It was, really a means for me to get away from, some of the bad things that were happening around me. And, that stayed constant to this day. Basketball has always been my go-to, my constant, my rock. So that's the way it's been. That's the way it always will be.
For sure.
I mean, my mom introduced me to basketball too, bro. So, yeah, she had me dribbling and stuff in the kitchen, man, working on my left hand outside and stuff. So, Yeah, that's cool, man.
So let's talk about the recruitment process a little bit. You of course received a number of mid-major offers, but I'm not sure if anyone could have, guessed that you would have the type of career that you had in college and ultimately be in a position that you're in today. But thinking back to when you were in high school, where was your confidence level? Did you always know that you go on to be a pro? Were you just focused on being the best college player that you could be? Where was your mind at back then?
My mind, that's a great question. I definitely didn't think I'd be in the position I am today. In high school, I was real raw, real lanky. Like, I kept growing. I didn't know how big I was going to be. Like, I was good, for the area that I played in, but I felt like there was so much more that I need to tap into. And that's where the uncertainty came from, because I didn't know where I'd have the opportunity to do that or how I have the opportunity to do that. Confidence has always been there. I mean, as an athlete, there's a fine line you got to walk between, like confidence and cockiness. Because if you err too much on being, like an airhead, just like being entitled in your sport, that's just, how you don't get any better. So
right,
definitely, I feel like I walked that line pretty well. But
for sure, I can second that. But when did it switch for you where you were like, okay, I think that I can be a pro, or that might be a reality for me?
I remember this game. It was my sophomore year, my first 30 ball. We played Marshall. I made the all-rookie team, but I was kind of like, I felt like they just had to throw a big in there, so I didn't know. I don't know if I really got that, or I didn't know what was going on with that. But yeah, I think it was after that Marshall game, 31 points. I don't know the rest of the stat line. I just know I had 30 points, and I remember talking to my parents on the phone, and that turned into a legitimate dream for me. Did I think NBA off the top of my head? Not necessarily. That's every hooper's dream to be in the NBA, but there has to be some sense of reality to it. I was like, I can go play overseas. This is great. 30-point game against a good opponent, and then from there, confidence just kept going up, and the dream became more in reach as my time went on.
Right. Definitely. What my bad, real quick. What for the college players that are out there that might be in a similar position, what got you to the level that you're at today? Was it like just extra hours in the gym? Of course, that might be part of it. I've seen your work ethic. But what got you to where you are today?
I think the biggest thing that is just transparent, honest communication with like your coaching staff. If you're in a college, talk to them. Tell them what your dreams are. Ask them what they think their dreams are for you. That on top of you have to have a elite work ethic if you want to be successful in anything you do. But this sport especially, because there's so many people out there that are trying to do it. So, just work ethic. You got to come and put your hard hat on every single day and talk to your people, talk to your peers, talk to your higher ups, and really make sure that you guys are all on the same page with what you're trying to do, and let them know what you're trying to do. Because too many times you have guys that want to be pro, that want to be the man, but no one else knows. The coaching staff wasn't aware that they were the man, So it just turns into, a pretty bad situation. So honest transparency with, your inner circle and your coaching staff is probably the biggest thing for me.
Right, sure. That's a great point. Me and Bryce talked about this a little bit too, but like your work ethic, you bring up a good point about work ethic, and it's like it transfers over, from the court to like real life situations. So I think that's like a great point for you to bring that up. And a lot of athletes don't really know that until like you're in Bryce's situation where you're not playing no more. But I think like that's a great point that you made.
Yeah, and then on top of that, basketball nowadays is like the sport has kind of changed, and like a lot of kids are like looking for mixtapes and like stuff to put on social media, and it's really moved the purity of the sport is kind of being compromised a little bit.
Yeah.
And like I guess that's just the biggest thing is, play the sport for what it is, Sport, it's a means to, get to where you want to be. Don't look at it as an opportunity to, make yourself look better on social media, because at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't really matter. Like, it's helpful for like, boosting your brand, but that doesn't really, do much for you.
Right. That's real.
The person you really are. Right.
Yeah. Play the game in its purity. That's probably that's another thing for me too.
Yep. Can you speak on, your decision to go prep? A lot of kids, student athletes out there might second guess that, decision, but, do you have any advice for the student athletes out there that's thinking about, taking that route?
Yeah, I mean, for me especially, I think the prep was probably the biggest decision that I made. And, that wasn't really my decision now I think about it. That was more my parents. My mom was like boarding school. So, but yeah, I mean, anyone, looking to go prep or anyone that's looking to go D1 is, stay the course.
Yeah.
Prep school is an amazing opportunity. Definitely boarding school, it can get a little, it can be tough those first couple of weeks, first couple of months being away from home, but it really prepared me, for the rest of my life. And yeah, just stay the course and, just understand that you're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Not like, public school where you can just go there, mess around for 8 hours and then go home. Like you go there and you lay those foundations, those building blocks for the work ethic and the time that you're going to put into whatever you decide to do.
1,000%. Sure. That's one thing that Jan and I talk about all the time, just remembering that like you're where you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? And stay, like you said, stay the course, take it day by day. Those are a few things that we try to stay, present, like keep presence of mind about every day. But coming out of prep school, when you were looking for college, what exactly were you looking for in a program?
That's a great. I mean, there was so much that went into it. I think the biggest things for me was obviously, the education was huge for me. I've always been a bookworm. I've always been somebody who, likes to do well in school. So, just having the opportunity to even get looked at by those high level, academic schools was, a blessing. So like sifting through, what school is going to be the best for me, to get me prepared for life after basketball, because sports only last so long. Our bodies can only do that for so long. Like, Vince Carter been playing for 20 years and everyone thinks he's been playing forever, but that's going to end eventually as well. So like, understanding that there's life after basketball and looking back, like, what did I do with that time? Like, I used my time as a basketball player to get my degree in a field that I, love and want to do after basketball. So finding that and also finding the opportunity, that's the biggest thing as well. I'm sure you guys can attest to it. It's just like nowadays, people are looking for the biggest school, the best conferences, not really looking for opportunity. William and Mary, to be completely honest, I didn't know existed until it's, sent me a scholarship offer. But finding the place where you have the best opportunity to, excel, not only as an athlete, but, as a student, as a person, just getting your whole character palette right. And just finding the opportunity to go in and just make the biggest impact that you can, really. Because you can go, I could have, decommitted and went to a high major, but I'm almost positive I probably would have played like a third of the minutes that I was able to play at William & Mary, and would have had a much, much worse opportunity than I did, coming here. So,
what motivates you, man, as a player? Like, what's motivating you?
What motivates me really is where I come from, what I've came from, and that's just so much. Obviously, I want to move my family, get my family away from some of the things that they're still around that I grew up around that, we know isn't the best things to be around. And, another thing is I don't want my kids to go through what I went through, Obviously, my kids are going to, learn those important life lessons, and my kids are going to, be humble and, have all the correct character traits. But, hardship as a child is just, never ideal. So if I can do anything to make sure my kids don't have to, go through that, I'm going to do it. And that's what really motivates me. It's just, a better life, not only for me, but for the people I care about.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, everybody needs, no matter what your field is or what your sport is, you got to find out like why you're doing what you're doing. Like, what's your why? I feel like if you don't do that, you'll never reach your highest potential, as you know. But I've played with a lot of talented players, but I gotta say, like, you were by far the most dominant teammate that I've ever like played with. And at the same time, you were still humble. Like, you can hear it, in this podcast episode so far, like unselfish, respectful, that, you know, everyone that we encountered off the court. And that's not always the case with the star of a team. And this might go back to, you know, your why, but who or what like keeps you grounded?
Yeah, I mean, my who is, you know, the people I care about, and the people that have, you know, taught me those important life lessons. My mother, my siblings, you know, extended family, and, you know, all the people I've encountered up to this point, you know, because, you know, all of that, you know, that star mentality leads to complacency. And
For sure.
that's not something any person should want to, you know, have in their repertoire is complacency, because that's like the number one killer of a career.
Right.
Like, really just, you know, keeping that, you know, jaded mindset on, you know, being the absolute best at what you do. And in order to do that, you can't be cocky, you can't be complacent. So like, just having the correct mindset about what you do, you know.
Right.
For sure.
One of our episodes, Bryce, first episode, titled what? The greatest enemy to human achievement is the comfort zone.
Yep.
So yeah, you tested the waters, you know, last summer. You know, had a few workouts for a few different teams, and, you know, ultimately decided to come back to William and Mary for, you know, for your senior year. Yeah. So what was that whole experience like?
I mean, it was exciting, very fulfilling experience. You know, just, again, childhood dream of mine to go and play professional basketball. So being able to go out and, you know, test the waters and show those teams my talents was, you know, an amazing experience. Traveling all over the country, that was awesome too. Just being able to put myself in front of those people was, yeah, it was something that, you know, I'll never ever, you know, take for granted. Coming back to school, that was difficult because, you know, I had a lot of different people in my ear. You know, obviously, you know, NBA front offices were like, it would be best if you went, you know, the high major route. But, you know, with the NCAA and all those rules that they have, it's literally impossible to, you know, transfer and play right away unless you graduate or you get some kind of hardship waiver.
Mm-hmm.
And the schools that were looking at me, I wasn't sure how to get that hardship waiver. And then on top of that, it was just, I don't know, William & Mary has just done so much for me. And, you know, there's so many reasons why I went there and there's so many reasons why I need to stay. Obviously, I needed to finish my degree. To do 3 years at William & Mary, to graduate from William & Mary is tough. So to do 3 years and then leave and get your degree from somewhere else didn't really make sense for me. You know, I knew what my role was going to be. I just kind of wanted to finish what I started, whatever that means. And I had, you know, a group of friends, a group of guys that I knew I was going to come back to. And, you know, the pieces that Coach Fisher were able to add was awesome. Got my guy Bryce.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. How was it when Bryce came?
Nah, I remember the first time I met Bryce. I was like, this is the guy we need. This is the piece we needed. Bryce is, you know, just a hard worker.
Yep.
Extremely level-headed, like probably the most level-headed person I've ever met. Has some interesting perspectives on some things. And, no, that's my guy, though. That's my guy. And, you know, Tyler, too. Like, Tyler's awesome. The definition of a glue guy.
Really?
Like, he can be a hothead sometimes, but, you know, that's my boy. He's got a little attitude problem. He light-skinned, so.
Bro, I need a compilation of all his like rages throughout the season, like him smacking the floor and all that. I need that.
Right? Yeah, Tyler. Oh my gosh, Tyler. He was about like 5 seconds away from like 3 fights this season. I don't know if you remember it.
And Bryce was so happy to come there too. Like, bro, every day I'm getting calls, super excited. He like, yeah, bro, we got a pro on our team. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking forward, you know, to watching y'all play. So I was able to catch, you know, some of y'all games though, man. But
that's what's up.
Yeah.
It was like thinking back to my recruitment visit. Like I already knew once I came on my visit, I was gonna commit just basically because like the academic piece. But they were like, yeah, like you know, our 5-man, he's, you know, testing the waters for the NBA right now. You know, if we get him back, he'll definitely be the best player in the conference. And I'm like, all right, yeah, like that's cool. Because like, you know, you hear like we got a good big all the time, but it never turns out that way.
Exactly.
Then once I came back out here for like the workouts or whatever that weekend, oh my God, I was like, okay, yeah, he's legit for real. He's legit for real.
Oh man,
Yeah, but you spoke about the academic piece a little bit. You know, getting your degree in business analytics, like that's tough. Like I've taken a few analytics class. By far, it's not my favorite. But you've had a few, 4 successful years here. And you just spoke about your decision to stay. Um, are you content with like the legacy that you've left here at William and Mary?
Yeah, from a basketball standpoint, definitely. I mean, obviously, I wish we would have won some conference championships, but you know, as one player, you can only do so much. And looking back, there's definitely more that I could have done. I mean, I guess the biggest legacy that I wanted to leave was not necessarily a legacy of, an outstanding athlete, just, an African American on campus. Bryce, as you know, the African American population at our school is there, but it's not very prominent like it could be.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to use my platform as an elite athlete on campus, kind of just bring light to the persons of color topic. That's a legacy that I want to leave, and I feel like I did that.
Definitely.
Out of all the commits that William & Mary has brought in since I've been here, since I've left, it used to be like a 60-40 one way, now it's like 70-30 the other way.
Yeah, that's true.
So being able to have an impact like that, was something that I'm really proud of.
I hadn't really thought about that, but that's a good point. And you definitely led the way with that. Like I spoke about, earlier, you were like the model athlete here, regardless of color. Like, and we need that. We need that for sure.
This has probably been, the most unconventional summer ever, to say the least. But what was your pre-draft process look like so far?
I mean, up to this point, it's been really just training, just doing my best to not lose what I, had during the season, and, to build on that a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it's really tough with coronavirus. Gyms were opening and shutting down like all the time. So like finding somewhere to train was, never easy. My agency was awesome with, making sure that I had somewhere to train, somewhere to, get better. So
right.
That's the biggest thing I've been doing. I mean, every single day it was a minimum 2 workouts. Obviously you gotta have a rest day, gotta have time to yourself. Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing, was just training, staying focused on the task at hand. It's very, very frustrating. Looking at it now, the draft was supposed to be September?
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably like 3 months ago. The draft would have happened 3 months ago in a regular world, but really just understanding that what's going on with the pandemic is really out of my control, and I can only do so much.
Right.
So just doing the best I can to, be prepared for when that time comes.
For sure. Right. Definitely will. Divine timing, man. Divine timing.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on any new hobbies? I mean, anything, during all this time we had off?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, video games has been my thing. I'm a big gamer. That's all I do. Yeah, but I definitely have picked up some new hobbies. I've been reading a lot more, just because video games can get a little redundant after a while. So picking up some books. Got reinvested into my faith. That's something that I kind of, stepped away from, not necessarily on purpose, just, on the environment and the conditions.
Yeah.
I wasn't really on top of my faith like I could have been. So being able to reconnect with that has probably been the thing that I'm most grateful for with this time, because it wouldn't have happened in the regular world. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. Really just reading, FaceTiming family, friends. Yeah, that's about it. Playing video games, and then I'm on FaceTime. If I'm not playing video games or I'm reading, I'm on FaceTime with either my mom, my brother, my sister, or my girl. That's about it. That's all I really do.
Yeah, I mean, Nate, I can say you're an elite Fortnite player. I played a few games. I know I'm terrible, but one thing that like I found like kind of cool, like this past summer we stayed together for a few weeks, and like I came in his room one day. I'm like, oh, who you playing with? He said like some kid's name, and I'm like, who is that? And he said, like, he was like, I think he was just like a fan of yours, or like he was at our team camp or something like that. But I just thought that was dope. That like you don't have to do that, you know what I mean? But you still, take the time to play with, play the game with some people that look up to you. I thought that was dope.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about the kids, man. It's all about
Man. But before we go, man, is there a quote or a mantra that you live by?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Bryce has heard this mantra, 100 times from Coach Fisher, but it's something that I've always lived by. Is just really controlling what you can control, and giving your 110% to the things that you have control over, and not stressing over, anything else. Because, like, this draft process is a perfect example. Like, I can't control what happens with the pandemic. I can control what I do in the pandemic. I can control how I act with my training, with my dieting and stuff. So really focusing on that and not being frustrated or getting upset with, the circumstances right now. So
1,000%. I love that quote though. And shout out to Coach Fisher, man. Great guy. Great guy.
Yo, Fisher's the man, bro.
Seriously. But man, thank you for coming on. Good luck in the draft process. I'm excited to see where you end up. Yeah, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on too, man.
No, thanks for having me. I'm a huge fan of the podcast. So
Well,
on an episode is never a bad thing. So